Driverly.com, unlimited drama series.
The engagement ring felt like a lead weight in my jacket pocket as I watched my wife Tessa through the restaurant window, laughing with some guy who definitely wasn't me. February 14th, 7 p.m. And here I was getting the performance of a lifetime. My name's Ethan Doyle, and I'm an idiot. 34 years old, mechanical engineer, and apparently blind as a bat when it comes to reading the woman I've been married to for 3 years. The diamond ring cost me 2 months' salary. A perfect 2-carat stone that was supposed to mark our fresh start after months of marriage counseling. Instead, I'm watching my wife's tongue explore some CrossFit coach's mouth like she's searching for buried treasure. The waiter kept glancing at me nervously. I'd been nursing the same beer for 40 minutes, staring out the window of Rick's Tavern across from Tessa's favorite sushi place. My phone buzzed with her text. "Sorry, honey, hanging with the girls tonight. Rain check on dinner." Girls. Right. Unless girls was slang for muscled-up meathead with tribal tattoos. Jesus, Ethan. You look like someone shot your dog, Rick Martinez said, sliding another beer across the bar. Rick owned the place, an old army buddy who'd seen me through my divorce from reality over the past year. "What's eating you?" I pulled out my phone and showed him Tessa's text, then pointed across the street. "See that blonde in the red dress? That's my wife. See the guy she's playing tonsil hockey with? That's not me." Rick squinted through the window. "Holy shit, man. That's Nick Riley. Owns the custom car shop on 5th Street. Real piece of work. Been through half the married women in this neighborhood." My stomach dropped into my boots. "You know this guy." "Unfortunately. He comes in here sometimes, bragging about his conquests. Always talks about how easy it is to fool husbands." Rick's face darkened. "I should have said something when I saw him sniffing around Tessa at the gym last month, but I figured you knew." The gym, of course. Tessa had started her fitness journey 6 months ago, suddenly obsessed with CrossFit and finding herself. New clothes, new attitude, new lies about working late. The signs were all there, glowing like neon, and I'd been too trusting to see them. "What are you going to do?" Rick asked. I watched Tessa throw her head back in exaggerated laughter at something Nick said. She was wearing the dress I'd bought her for Christmas, the one she claimed was too fancy for anywhere we go. Apparently, Nick rated fancy. "I'm going to give her exactly what she deserves," I said, pulling out the ring box. "But first, I'm going to make sure this doesn't go to waste." I walked outside and pulled out my phone, starting a video. "Hey everyone, Ethan here. So, I was planning to propose to my wife tonight, but she's across the street with her boyfriend instead." I held up the ring box. "Rather than let this beautiful ring go to waste, I'm donating it to the women's shelter downtown. Maybe it'll help someone who actually deserves it." I posted the video to Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok before I could chicken out. Within minutes, my phone was buzzing with notifications. That's when I saw them leaving the restaurant together, Nick's hand firmly planted on Tessa's ass as they walked toward his custom car shop. My wife was giggling like a teenager, stumbling slightly in her heels. I followed at a distance, my engineering brain already calculating angles and possibilities. Nick's shop was in an industrial area, lots of shadows and places to observe without being seen. I parked my beat-up Honda behind a dumpster and watched them through the shop's windows. What I saw next made my blood boil. Tessa wasn't just cheating, she was comfortable. This wasn't some new fling. She knew where everything was in his office, helped herself to his mini fridge, kicked off her heels like she owned the place. This had been going on for months. My phone rang. Tessa. "Hey baby," she said, slightly breathless. "Just wanted to call and say goodnight. The girls and I are having such a fun time. Carla's telling us about her dating disasters." Through the window, I watched her pace around Nick's office, completely alone except for him. Nick was grinning, clearly enjoying the performance. "That sounds great, honey," I managed. "Having fun with Carla and Maya?" "Oh, you know how it is. Girl talk, wine, the usual. I'll probably crash at Carla's tonight, so don't wait up." Nick pulled her close, and she melted into his arms while lying to my face. "Sure thing. Love you." "Love you too, Ethan. You're the best husband ever." She hung up and I watched her and Nick laugh about something before disappearing into the back of the shop. I sat in my car for another hour, watching the lights go out one by one. When they finally emerged, Tessa's hair was messed up, and her lipstick was gone. Nick walked her to her car, gave her one last kiss, and smacked her ass as she got in. As I drove home to our empty apartment, my phone kept buzzing with responses to my Ring video. It was going viral. Thousands of shares, hundreds of supportive comments. Apparently, scorned husbands were a popular demographic. But the comments that caught my attention were from Tessa's friends. Carla had posted, "OMG, Ethan, what happened?" Tessa said she was with us tonight. Maya had commented, "This is so awful. I had no idea." Tessa told us she was working late. So her alibis were falling apart in real time. Perfect. I poured myself 3 fingers of whiskey and sat in my kitchen, staring at the Valentine's Day card I'd written her that morning. To my beautiful wife, looking forward to many more years together. The irony was thick enough to cut with a knife. My phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. "Saw your video. We need to talk. You're not the only one Tessa's been lying to." Maya. I stared at the message for a long moment, then typed back, "Tomorrow. Rick's Tavern, 7 p.m. If Tessa wanted to play games, I'd show her how a mechanical engineer approaches problem solving. Step 1, gather data. Step 2, analyze the system. Step 3, identify the weak points. Step 4, bring the whole thing crashing down." Maya Chen was already waiting when I arrived at Rick's the next evening, nursing a glass of wine and looking like she'd rather be anywhere else. She was Tessa's workout buddy, a petite accountant with sharp eyes and an even sharper tongue. I'd always liked her. She was the only one of Tessa's friends who didn't treat me like furniture. "Your video has 2 million views," she said without preamble as I sat down. "Tessa's been calling me all day, crying about how you humiliated her publicly." Funny, she didn't seem too concerned about humiliating me last night. I signaled Rick for a beer. "What did you want to talk about?" Maya pulled out her phone and showed me a screenshot. "This is from Tessa's Instagram story yesterday morning. Notice anything?" The photo showed Tessa at the gym, flexing in the mirror. But in the background, I could see Nick's reflection. And he was clearly staring at her ass, with the kind of look that suggested they were way past the trainer-client relationship. "She posted this while you were at work," Maya continued. "She's been doing it for months, basically advertising their affair to anyone paying attention. I've got dozens of these." "Why didn't you tell me?" Maya's expression hardened. "Because I thought you knew and were okay with it." Tessa kept saying you two had an arrangement, that you were fine with her exploring her options. She made it sound like you were some kind of modern, enlightened couple. My beer arrived, and I took a long pull to keep from saying something I'd regret. "What changed your mind?" "Your video. The look on your face when you talked about the proposal." Maya leaned forward. "Tessa's been playing all of us, Ethan. She's been using our friend group as cover for her affair, making us all accomplices without our knowledge. I'm done being her alibi." She pulled out a small notebook and flipped through pages of handwritten notes. "I started paying attention after your video went viral. Tessa's been lying to everyone, her boss, her family, us, you. She told her mom she was working late on Valentine's Day. She told her boss she was sick. She told Carla she was having dinner with you. Jesus, how deep does this go?" "Deep enough that I think you deserve to know the truth. All of it?" Maya's voice dropped. "Ethan, Nick isn't her first affair. There was a guy from her sales territory last year. Brad something. I only found out because I saw them together at a hotel bar in Cleveland when I was there for work." The beer turned sour in my mouth. "How long has this been going on?" "At least 18 months, maybe longer." Maya flipped another page. I started documenting everything after I realized what was happening. Dates, times, locations, witnesses. I'm an accountant. I like evidence. She slid the notebook across the table. Take a look. The entries were meticulous. Dates when Tessa claimed to be with Maya but wasn't. Times when she'd used Maya's name as an alibi. Screenshots of social media posts that contradicted Tessa's stories. It was a paper trail of deception that would make a prosecutor weep with joy. Why are you helping me? I asked. Maya's smile was sharp as a blade. Because Tessa threw me under the bus yesterday. When people started questioning her alibi after your video, she told everyone I was lying to cover for her. She said I was jealous of her marriage and trying to break you up. That's insane. That's Tessa. She'll sacrifice anyone to protect herself. Maya finished her wine. But here's the thing, Ethan. I don't just have evidence of her affairs. I have evidence of something else. She pulled out her phone and showed me a video. It was security footage from the gym, showing Tessa and Nick in what appeared to be the equipment storage room. They weren't working out. The gym owner's my cousin, Maya explained. He's been documenting this because he's worried about liability issues. Tessa and Nick have been using the gym for their hookups, sometimes during business hours when other members could walk in. I watched my wife of 3 years grinding against her personal trainer like they were auditioning for a porn movie. The timestamp showed it was from last Tuesday, the same day she'd texted me about how tired she was from her intense workout. There's more, Maya said. Nick's been recording some of their sessions. Apparently, he has a thing for married women and likes to keep trophies. My blood went cold. How do you know that? Because he tried to show me the videos last weekend at Carla's birthday party. He was drunk and bragging about his collection. He has recordings of at least 3 different married women, including your wife. The implications hit me like a freight train. Not only was Tessa cheating, but she was being recorded without her knowledge by a predator who collected married women like hunting trophies. I need to see those recordings, I said. Maya shook her head. That's where I draw the line. I'm not helping you break into someone's place or steal evidence, but I will help you catch them in the act. What do you have in mind? Tessa thinks she's smarter than everyone else. She's gotten sloppy because she thinks you're clueless, and the rest of us are enabling her. But tomorrow night, she's supposed to be at Carla's for a girls' night. Except Carla's going to be out of town visiting her sister. So if I follow her, you'll catch her red-handed. And this time, you'll have witnesses. Maya's smile was predatory. Because I'm going to make sure Carla knows exactly where Tessa really is. I studied Maya's face, looking for any sign that this was some kind of setup. But her anger seemed genuine, and her evidence was too detailed to be fabricated. What's your endgame here, Maya? What do you get out of helping me? Satisfaction, she said simply. Tessa's been using me as her cover story for over a year. She's made me complicit in her lies, and now she's trying to make me the villain when people ask questions. I want her to face consequences for once in her privileged life. I finished my beer and made my decision. Okay, I'm in. But we do this smart, and we do it legal. I'm not going to jail because my wife's a cheating sociopath. Agreed. No breaking and entering, no stolen property, no violence. Just good old-fashioned public humiliation. Maya gathered her things. Meet me tomorrow at 6. We'll follow her together, document everything, and then decide how to use it. As she stood to leave, Maya paused. Ethan, your video yesterday was perfect. You came across as the wronged husband, dignified and generous. Keep that energy. When this all comes out, make sure you're the sympathetic one. After she left, I sat at the bar thinking about the notebook full of evidence and the security footage of my wife's betrayal. 3 years of marriage, and I'd been living with a stranger who saw me as nothing more than financial security and social cover. Rick appeared with another beer I hadn't ordered. You look like a man with a plan. I'm a mechanical engineer, Rick. I solve problems for a living. I raised the bottle in a mock toast. Tomorrow night, I'm going to solve the biggest problem of my life. The pieces were falling into place. Tessa had built her house of lies on a foundation of other people's trust and silence. But foundations could be undermined, and houses could be brought down. Time to start digging. Friday evening, I sat in Maya's Honda Civic across from our apartment building, watching Tessa load her overnight bag into her BMW. She'd kissed me goodbye an hour earlier, all smiles and fake affection, telling me how much she needed girl time with Carla. She's really committed to the performance, Maya muttered, adjusting her rearview mirror. Look at that innocent act. Tessa was wearing yoga pants and an oversized sweater, her casual girls' night costume, but I could see the edge of lace lingerie peeking out from under the sweater. She wasn't dressing for Carla. My phone buzzed with a text from her. At Carla's now? Wine and rom-coms all night. Love you. She's not even trying anymore, and I said, showing Maya the message. Why should she? You've never questioned her before? Maya started the engine as Tessa pulled out of the parking lot. She thinks you're the perfect trusting husband. We followed at a distance as Tessa drove through downtown, past Carla's neighborhood, and straight toward the industrial district where Nick's shop was located. She parked behind the building in the same spot I'd seen her use before. Bingo, Maya said, pulling into an alley with a clear view of the shop's back entrance. Start recording. I pulled out my phone.
Your ex, the one you said you blocked, 300 messages this month.
He contacted me from...
Watch more on Grammarly.com.
And started filming as Tessa walked to the rear door of Nick's shop. She didn't knock. She had her own key. The door opened and Nick appeared, pulling her inside with the kind of hungry kiss that made my stomach turn. How long has she had a key to his place? I asked. At least 3 months. I saw her playing with it during lunch one day. Said it was for the gym. Maya was taking photos with a camera that had a telephoto lens. She's been planning this for a long time, Ethan. We sat in the car for 2 hours, documenting everything. The lights going on in Nick's office, shadows moving behind the curtains. At one point, Tessa appeared in the window, wearing nothing but Nick's work shirt. My phone rang. Tessa again. Hey, baby, she said, slightly out of breath. Just calling to say goodnight. We're about to start our movie marathon. Through my camera's zoom, I could see her standing in Nick's office window, completely naked from the waist down, grinning as she lied to me. What are you watching? I asked, my voice steady, despite the rage building in my chest. Oh, you know Carla. Some romantic comedy from the 90s. Very predictable. She laughed, and I heard Nick's voice in the background saying something that made her giggle. I should go. The girls are getting impatient. Have fun, honey. Love you. Love you too. You're the best. She hung up, and I watched her toss the phone aside before Nick pulled her away from the window. Got all that? Maya asked. I nodded, saving the recording. Audio and video of her lying while standing naked in her boyfriend's office. This should be interesting. Maya's phone buzzed. That's Carla, texting from her sister's place in Toledo. She's asking if I've heard from Tessa, because she's not answering her phone. Perfect. Screenshot that timestamp. Already done. Maya showed me her phone. Carla's been posting photos from Toledo all day. There's no way Tessa could be with her. We waited another hour until the lights in Nick's office went out, and different lights came on in what looked like a bedroom above the shop. Okay, that's enough surveillance for one night, Maya said. We've got her dead to rights. Now what? I stared at the building where my wife was spending the night with another man, using our friends as cover stories and treating our marriage like a joke. The hurt was transforming into something colder and more focused. Now we set the stage for the main event, I said. But first, I need to make a few calls. Back at my apartment, I spread Maya's evidence across my kitchen table, like a general planning a campaign. Photos, videos, screenshots, timeline documentation. It was a prosecutor's dream and a cheater's nightmare. I started with Carla, calling her directly. Ethan, is everything okay? Carla sounded concerned. I've been trying to reach Tessa all day. That's interesting, I said. She told me she was spending the night with you. Long pause. Ethan, I'm in Toledo visiting my sister. I've been here since yesterday morning. I know, I can see your Instagram posts. Which means Tessa lied to both of us about where she is tonight. Another pause, longer this time. Oh my God, you don't think she's cheating on me? Yeah, Carla, that's exactly what I think. And I have proof. I sent her the video of Tessa's phone call, along with a timestamp showing when it was recorded and where. Jesus Christ, Carla whispered after watching it. She's been using me as her alibi. She's been making me an accomplice. Welcome to the club. Maya figured it out yesterday, and now she's helping me document everything. What are you going to do? I'm going to give Tessa exactly what she's been asking for, a public reckoning. But I need your help. I explained my plan, and Carla was quiet for a long moment. She's really been doing this for over a year? Carla asked finally. At least. Maya has documentation going back 18 months. Multiple affairs, constant lies, using all of us as cover stories. That bitch! Carla's voice was sharp with anger. She cried to me about your marriage problems, said you were distant and cold. She made me feel sorry for her. Classic cheater behavior. Make the victim into the villain. What do you need me to do? I smiled for the first time in days. Tomorrow night, Rick's Tavern is having their monthly karaoke night. Big crowd, lots of our friends and neighbors. I want you to invite Tessa. Tell her you're back in town and want to have fun. She'll probably say she's busy. Then tell her Nick will be there. Tell her you heard he's looking for new female clients for his personal training business. Carla laughed, but it wasn't a happy sound. You want to ambush her in public. I want to give her a chance to tell the truth in front of everyone who's been covering for her lies. What she does with that chance is up to her. And if she keeps lying, then I'll show everyone exactly who Tessa really is. We talked for another 20 minutes, refining the details. Carla was angry enough at being used that she was fully committed to the plan. Maya had already agreed to help. Rick was on board. He'd been watching Tessa manipulate me for months and was ready to see her get some consequences. As I hung up, my phone buzzed with a text from Tessa. Having so much fun. Carla says hi. I looked at the timestamp. Carla and I had just hung up 30 seconds ago. I texted back, tell her I said hi too. What movie are you watching now? The Princess Bride. Carla's favorite. I immediately called Carla back. Quick question, what's your favorite movie? The Shawshank Redemption. Why? Just checking something. Thanks. I screenshotted Tessa's lie and added it to my growing collection of evidence. She wasn't just cheating. She was getting sloppy, making mistakes that would be impossible to explain away. Tomorrow night, in front of everyone we knew, Tessa would have to choose between the truth and more lies. Based on her track record, I knew exactly which option she'd pick, and I'd be ready for her. Saturday night, Rick's Tavern was packed for karaoke night. I'd arrived early and positioned myself at the bar with a clear view of the entrance. Nursing a beer and watching familiar faces filter in, Maya sat at a corner table with a perfect vantage point, her phone ready to record. Rick was behind the bar, polishing glasses and trying to look casual. Carla had done her job perfectly. She'd called Tessa that afternoon, claiming to be back from Toledo early and wanting to blow off steam. She'd mentioned that Nick would be there, scouting for new personal training clients. Tessa had agreed to come immediately. At 8:30, Tessa walked in wearing a tight black dress and heels that were definitely not appropriate for a casual girls' night. She'd clearly dressed to impress Nick, not to hang out with Carla. She spotted me at the bar and walked over with a bright smile that didn't reach her eyes. Ethan, what a surprise. I thought you were staying in tonight. Change of plans, I said, raising my beer. Carla invited me when she got back from Toledo. How was your girls' night last night? Oh, you know how it is. Wine, movies, gossip. She was scanning the room, clearly looking for Nick. We had such a good time. That's funny, I said casually. Because Carla was in Toledo until this afternoon. I saw her Instagram posts from her sister's place. Tessa's smile faltered for just a moment before snapping back into place. Right, I meant Thursday night. We hung out Thursday. Last night I was home, remember? No, Tessa. Last night you called me from Carla's place. You said you were watching The Princess Bride. Her face went pale, but she recovered quickly. You're confusing me with someone else, honey. I was home all evening. I think you might have had too much to drink. The gaslighting was so smooth, so automatic, that I almost admired her technique. Almost. Really? Because I have the recording of our phone conversation. I pulled out my phone. Want to hear it? Before she could answer, Nick Riley walked through the door. He was dressed in jeans and a tight t-shirt that showed off his gym-sculpted physique, scanning the room like he owned the place. When his eyes found Tessa, his face lit up with a predatory grin. Tessa's entire demeanor changed. Her posture straightened, her voice dropped to what she probably thought was a sultry whisper. I should go say hi to Carla. She's right over there, I said, pointing to where Carla sat with Maya. But first, let's clear up this confusion about last night. I pressed play on the recording. Tessa's voice filled the space between us. Hey, baby, just calling to say goodnight. We're about to start our movie marathon. Then my voice, what are you watching? Oh, you know Carla. Some romantic comedy from the 90s. very predictable. The color drained from Tessa's face as she heard her own lies played back to her. Around us, conversations were stopping as people recognized her voice. That's not... You edited that, she stammered. You're trying to make me look bad because you're jealous of my friendships. Jealous of your friendships? I laughed, and it wasn't a pleasant sound. Is that what we're calling it? Nick had made his way over, clearly sensing drama. Everything okay here, Tessa? The way he said her name, familiar, possessive, made several people look up with interest. This was a small neighborhood bar where everyone knew everyone else's business. Everything's fine, Nick, Tessa said quickly. My husband's just having some kind of breakdown. Breakdown? I stood up and the entire bar seemed to lean in. Let me tell you about a breakdown, Tessa. A breakdown is when your wife of 3 years has been cheating on you for over a year, using her friends as alibis, and lying to your face every single day. The bar went completely silent. Even the karaoke machine seemed to pause. You're drunk, Tessa said loudly. You're embarrassing yourself. Am I? I pulled out my phone again. Let's see what everyone thinks about this. I played the video from the night before, Tessa standing naked in Nick's office window while lying to me on the phone. The audio was crystal clear, her voice bright with deception as she described her fake girls' night. The reaction was immediate. Gasps, whispers, someone saying, "Oh my God," loudly enough for the whole bar to hear. Carla stood up from her table, her face twisted with anger. You lying bitch, Carla said, her voice carrying across the room. You've been using me as your cover story for over a year. You made me an accomplice to your affairs. Affairs? Nick looked genuinely surprised. Plural? Maya stood up, her phone in her hand. Should I show them the photos from the hotel in Cleveland, Tessa? Or maybe the security footage from the gym? Tessa was trapped, surrounded by evidence and witnesses, her carefully constructed lies crumbling in real time. But instead of coming clean, she doubled down. You're all crazy, she said, her voice rising to near hysteria. This is some kind of conspiracy. You're all jealous of my marriage, my success, my happiness. Your happiness? I laughed again, and this time it was genuinely amused. Tessa, you've been so miserable in our marriage that you've been cheating for over a year. The only conspiracy here is the one you created to cover your tracks. Nick was backing away slowly, clearly realizing he'd walked into a trap. But I wasn't done with him yet. Going somewhere, Nick? I called out. Don't you want to tell everyone about your collection? The videos you take of married women without their consent? Nick froze. I don't know what you're talking about. Sure you don't. Maya, want to tell everyone what Nick showed you at Carla's birthday party? Maya smiled, and it was sharp as a knife. Nick likes to record his conquests. He has videos of at least 3 different married women, including Tessa. He was drunk and bragging about his trophy collection last weekend. The bar erupted. Several men stood up, their faces dark with anger. Someone shouted, "That's illegal!" Another voice called Nick a predator. The crowd was turning ugly, and Nick seemed to realize he was outnumbered. This is all lies, he said, but his voice lacked conviction. I'm getting out of here. Running away? I called after him. What about your girlfriend? Nick looked at Tessa, who was standing frozen in the middle of the bar, surrounded by hostile faces. She's not my girlfriend. She's just some married chick looking for action. The casual cruelty of it hit Tessa like a physical blow. She'd thrown away her marriage for a man who saw her as nothing more than a conquest, and now he was abandoning her to save himself. Nick, wait, she called. But he was already pushing through the crowd toward the exit. Let him go, Tessa, I said. He's got what he wanted from you. Now he's moving on to the next married woman, stupid enough to fall for his act. Tessa spun around to face me, her composure finally cracking completely. You bastard. You planned this. You set me up. I set you up. I shook my head. Tessa, all I did was tell the truth. You set yourself up the moment you decided to cheat on your marriage and lie to everyone who cared about you. Our marriage was already over, she screamed. You're boring and predictable, and you never made me feel alive. Then why didn't you just divorce me? I asked quietly. Why the lies, the manipulation, the affairs? Why make me look like a fool while you played house with other men? She had no answer for that because the truth was too ugly to say out loud. She'd wanted the security of marriage and the excitement of affairs. She'd wanted to have her cake and eat it too, consequences be damned. The crowd was watching us like we were dinner theater, waiting to see how this would end. I looked around at all the faces, friends, neighbors, acquaintances, all of them seeing Tessa exactly as she really was for the first time. Ladies and gentlemen, I said, raising my beer in a mock toast, I give you my wife, Tessa Doyle, cheater, liar, and user of friends. She's single now. So if any of you married men want to be her next conquest, she's available. Tessa let out a sound that was half sob, half scream, and ran for the exit. The door slammed behind her with enough force to rattle the windows. The bar stayed silent for a long moment. Then slowly conversations resumed. Several people came over to pat my shoulder or buy me drinks. Rick poured me a whiskey on the house. Hell of a show, he said quietly. You okay? I thought about it for a moment. My marriage was over, my wife was exposed as a serial cheater, and my personal life had just become public entertainment. You know what, Rick? I'm better than okay. I'm free. Maya appeared at my elbow. That was brutal. Effective, but brutal. She had 3 years to be honest with me, I said. She chose lies every single time. Tonight, the truth finally caught up with her. My phone buzzed with notifications. The video I'd posted of Tessa's lies was being shared rapidly, her deception spreading across social media like wildfire. By morning, everyone in our social circle would know exactly who she really was. Justice, served cold in public, exactly as she deserved.